Yo, YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to the Radar for Wrestling Studios.
What up, Mark?
Guys, NXT just finished up. We have one takeaway from NXT, the Happy Holidays edition of NXT. They're just totally, completely, and utterly building towards that New Year's Evil show that's 2 weeks from today. The first show of 2021 for NXT. So there's not a ton of meat on the bone here, but we had an interesting comeback from a certain female superstar coming back to NXT after abysmal, treatment on Monday Night Raw. I'm pretty sure you guys know, and SmackDown. I'm pretty sure you guys know who we're talking about. So we got a couple things to get into here. There's more matches set up for New Year's Evil stipulations and stuff like that. So we'll get into it. But before we do, I remind you guys to drop a like on this video, previous videos, the subscribe button if you're watching. Subscribe to the channel, notification bell, so you guys are alerted when new videos drop. Also, follow me on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, all the same handles. Follow me on all those social platforms. In the description section below, you already know you got the links: Amazon, HighSpots.com, Fight TV, and the Honor Club. Sign up through all those. Shop through all those. Use the links in the description section below. Helps us out a lot. Appreciate the support. Let's get right into it. One takeaway from NXT. NXT started off with the NXT Tag Team Title Street Fight. You had Killian Dane, and Drake Maverick going against Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. It was a good match to start off. I mean, it's nice to start off the show like that with a bunch of stuff going on there. They brought back the cricket bat. That was pretty cool. They brought back. But in the end, Lorcan and Burch do get the win, retaining the titles. But it was a good showing from all four guys in this one.
Yeah, it was a good way to start off the show, especially with AEW being staggered and showing up like 2 hours later. So that was actually a good way to start the show. I expected more from this show because of the fact that there was such a different placement of when AEW started. I thought they started off hot, but the rest of the show was pretty flat.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty flat. Next thing on the show, we had Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Jake Atlas. This feud continues, and Isaiah Swerve Scott slowly doing his heel turn because he's boasting during his match. He has like a certain point where he tries to grab a chair, but then thinks twice about it. In the end, he gets the win and is boasting and celebrating a lot. So he's just the slow heel turn is happening for Isaiah Swerve Scott. They really need to jumpstart the cruiserweight division again because it felt like somewhat good when Santos Escobar was showing up on the show a lot. Now he hasn't been on the show for a few times, so it's fell off a little bit. So maybe
it's falling flat. They need to get back on it for sure. Maybe after once the New Year hits, after New Year's Evil next week, they'll start going back to it. But they really need to get back on it because right now it's kind of flat.
Yeah, it's really flat. Next thing on the show, we had Dakota Kai going against Rhea Ripley. So it was a pretty star-studded matchup right here. But in the end, Ripley does get the win with the Riptide, but it's all about Raquel Gonzalez in here because she is there watching the match at the top of the stage. She gets involved afterwards. A big brawl ensues, a break apart. Then we see Dexter Lumis in the back later on in the show, drawing a picture, and it's to say that's last woman standing. The two girls that were having a matchup on New Year's Evil will be last woman standing. So it's probably going to be a barn burner of a match. Very extremely physical. A lot of big spots in this matchup coming. But I am kind of I don't like to see Dakota Kai take the loss here because it kind of felt like just like a throwaway loss for her. But it is what it is. You got to.
Well, I mean, it definitely is just because of the fact that she was Raquel was her muscle.
Yeah,
she was like the leader, and now she's kind of falling second fiddle to her, which is a little bit kind of weird and funky the way they did it, but it is what it is. But shout out to Dexter Lumis for the art, and then just that crazy stare.
That was
hysterical. And I guess he's the guy that's just announcing matches now.
Well, he's the host. He's the host for it, so I guess
he's the host. You're right. So he's just announcing matches and drawing them in. I like it. I think we should continue with this. It's actually pretty entertaining.
It is, but Raquel Gonzalez definitely has usurped Dakota Kai in that pecking order. So, but Dakota Kai will eventually get her shot. Maybe we'll see Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez go at it in the future. We'll see what happens with that.
Why not?
Next thing in the show, we had Bronson Reed making his comeback against Ashanti Adonis. Pretty much just destroys him, and that was pretty much all there was to it. So nothing to say much there. Okay, let's talk about the Gargano stuff. There's the Gargano family Christmas stuff going on where Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, and Austin Theory were opening up gifts. They're like a big family opening up gifts. Funny stuff going on there. You had Johnny Gargano playing the hell out of that piano. He was really into it. Then he gives his gift to Austin Theory, and it's protein, but it says Gargano whey, spelled like whey protein, so it was kind of cheesy and funny. And he says that maybe eventually he can become as good as Johnny Gargano is. Then he gives Candice LeRae part of Shotzi Blackheart's old tank.
No, wait. The best part was, the whole part of this was, he gave Indy Hartwell a PS4 box.
A PS5 box, yeah, PS5.
A PS5 box, sorry, PS5 box. He's just like, PS5's mine. The box is just like a sentimental. So what the real gift is, she's now indie wrestling. She's taking the Gargano nickname, Johnny Wrestling, indie wrestling. That's the name now. So that's what she's gonna go as now.
Yeah, let's see if they run with it further on. This was better from them because it was more entertaining than the other stuff they've done previously since the group kind of started. So it's good, I guess, right? Like, so it's good. Gargano's really going, all in on the the shit-eating heel that he is right now, and the comedy stuff that he's doing. So he's going all in on it. So if you're gonna do it, you might as well go all in if you're gonna do it. So
100%.
So this was good stuff. But that was the way that stuff played out. Next thing on the show, we had Leon Ruff taking on Timothy Thatcher. This was interesting because Leon Ruff got another surprise roll-up win because Timothy Thatcher had him in a submission, but was calling out Ciampa. Ciampa never showed up. He gets, he loses focus, gets rolled up by Ruff. Ruff gets the win. Ruff will take on Johnny Gargano for North American Championship next week, so we'll see that. And then you have Ciampa show up after the match, beat down Thatcher, accept the challenge, and he says to see him in the pit. So I'm assuming they're gonna do that fight pit that they did with Riddle and Thatcher previously, where Angle was the referee. So that'd be pretty cool if they do that. Maybe for New Year's Evil, those two go at it in there. That'd be pretty awesome.
Add to the, I mean, those guys really, their first match was like just a brawl, guys, hard hitting, fight. So this is gonna be an even more extravagant, hard-hitting fight in that Lions Den chamber type style match. So I'm excited for that. Definitely excited for that.
Yeah. Next in the show, we had Tyler Rust. Remember, he took on Ciampa last week. Took Ciampa pretty far. Now Malcolm Bivens is his manager now. He's taking on Aria Davari, from 205 Live. Pretty much, it's a good match because Rust did well with his submissions and his chain wrestling, so it was pretty good from him. We'll see what the future holds for Rust and Bivens going forward. If they want to do something with Rust later on, we'll see what happens with all that. They also had backstage stuff. You had Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor hyping up their matchup, at New Year's Evil by rewatching their matchup from TakeOver. I really liked Finn Balor's approach here because he has a lot of conviction in his voice. Seems like he believes everything he's saying, and he's coming off super, super well. To me, Kyle O'Reilly, it's just his style. I'm not a huge fan of the way he talks. I'm not a huge fan of his style, and everything he says feels like he's kind of like tongue-in-cheek with everything he says. It's just the way it comes off to me.
His promo doesn't match his in-ring style, which is hard-hitting and like badass, and just like everything looks solid and looks real. He's more just like the sarcastic kind of like, I'm just playing around. And maybe that's what they're trying to like. And that was even the issue going into their first match, where Finn was really aggressive and being realistic, and everything was a joke for him. And now kind of they're doing the same thing again. Maybe that's just what Triple H, NXT are trying to push him that way. But I would like if he was more intense, more of his wrestling in-ring style with his promos. That way we just got both guys, but maybe they're just playing that card.
It could just honestly be his personality and just the way he comes off on screen. This just could be it. But he just never really seems like he's, intense or anything like that compared to his style, which is really intense. But we had that. We had Adam Cole along with Roderick Strong having a promo talking about the Undisputed Era, and they get interrupted by Velveteen Dream randomly comes out, and then they set up a match later on between Velveteen and Adam Cole. Slap shit out of him. So we had later on a Toni Storm interview. And then after the Toni Storm interview, you see Io Shirai come out, and she's calling, Toni Storm out to the ring. But we get a surprise, and this is the one takeaway from the show, because the picture behind us, Mercedes Martinez, former Retribution member, is back in NXT after she got taken out of Retribution after Mustafa Ali was named the leader of Retribution. Yeah. She gets sent back to NXT, and she immediately attacks, as her first night back, attacks Io Shirai.
NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, so she immediately implements herself in that feud. But like Toni Storm is still there, so Io Shirai was waiting for Toni Storm. Now she has to deal with Mercedes Martinez. It's interesting how they did this. Again, this is a takeaway because we get the rag on Retribution, because she showed up in Retribution. It was like 2 women members, and then Mustafa Ali is named your leader, and then that's the end of Mercedes Martinez. You don't see her after that, and now it's just Mia Yim there. So it's just funny, and she's back in NXT now after the terrible experience in Retribution, the failed experiment that is Retribution. So she's one of the lucky ones because she got out. Yeah,
I mean, it's probably the greatest move in the history of wrestling when you really think about it. They put her in this group. I'm thinking she was like, I don't want to be in this group. It sucks. Let me get out. And then she they just took her out, and they put the rocket strap on her. They literally put the rocket strap on her. As Retribution is probably the worst thing of 2020. And think about 2020, the worst year in recent history, maybe of the last 120 years, where we have a pandemic, the world's and the economy's terrible, everyone's dying, and wrestling wasn't the greatest. But Retribution is the worst thing to happen all year long. And what did Mercedes Martinez do? She got out of it. She's in NXT. She's attacking Io Shirai. She's already in a prominent role. She's already way more interesting than anything Retribution's done since they got in. So good on her. Good on her. She got lucky. She got saved from Retribution. She has her title shot coming soon. She's on NXT, the hotter brand. I mean, good on her.
Yeah.
She won the lottery.
Yeah, she wasn't lucky when she got out. But again, they had a missed opportunity here. They could have used Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez as like a part of the tag team division in the women's division.
Yeah.
They could have used that, but I guess they didn't. They chose not to for whatever reason, that she wanted out, or they just didn't want to have 6 members. They wanted to have 5.
Yeah.
So it's whatever. But it is what it is. She got out. She's lucky. She shows up here on NXT. She attacks the NXT Women's Champion.
Good on her.
So we'll see if she gets a matchup next week against Io Shirai. It seems like it will be Toni Storm versus Io Shirai at New Year's Eve for the championship. Let's see what Mercedes Martinez kind of throws in here. But main event, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream. This match was super random, but a feud that was awesome when it first happened, but we didn't really have to see it come back, right? No. Because Velveteen Dream has
so random.
Yeah, and he's cooled off so much because it's off out of the ring issues and stuff like that, and then he hasn't been around too much, so it's just random. It is what it is. But yeah, Adam Cole gets the win. It's just, I guess, it's just a way to have Adam Cole stay there and relevant while Kyle O'Reilly's being the number one guy in the stable. So it is what it is.
It was actually pretty funny because the Velveteen Dream comes in and interrupts Adam Cole and says how the mighty have fallen, and he's talking about
himself,
Cole,
basically.
He should be talking about himself. Like, that's really like the end of it. And like, he gets slapped by Adam Cole and gets called a moron. It's like, yeah, you moron. You ruined your whole career basically because you were. I mean, think about Velveteen Dream this time last year. He was probably like one of the biggest stars in NXT. Just, was on the rocket ship to being stardom and being NXT champion and kind of running the whole show, and like, look at him now.
Yeah, he was basically pegged as like by John Cena as like the guy who was really gonna change the wrestling business. Yeah, and it's 100%. Really just crashed and burned.
It's a shame.
Here. Yeah, it is a shame.
It's a shame. Even going back to the summer when they had the crazy street parking lot match. Remember that? Yeah. And he lost the NXT champion. The match he's just been on like a downward spiral. Yeah. Hopefully, there's I'm down for second chances. I mean,
there could be a solid redemption story there. There could be, honestly.
At least. I mean, we'll see. But man, Velveteen Dream, like, what a loser of a year he had.
Yeah, man. And the fans on Twitter and stuff are not happy with him. So we'll see if that redemption story eventually happens.
And if it's true, he really shouldn't get a second chance, because there's some stuff that doesn't deserve second chances, and those are one of the things that he's being accused for. So, but really don't deserve it. But hopefully he's innocent, and whatever. But damn, what a fall from grace.
It is what it is. That's the way the show ended. A decent episode of NXT. I thought they would have been a little harder, like came out a little harder on this show, just because they're not going head to head with AEW. Yep. For whatever the case, but they are building to NXT, New Year's Eve. During the match, though, I forgot to mention Pete Dunne attacked Roderick Strong during the match on the outside, so they will face each other next week, Pete Dunne, Roderick Strong, so look out for that one. That's the video we got for you guys today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video, comment on this video what you guys think of NXT, and are excited for New Year's Eve and all that good stuff. And if it doesn't work, brother, do the job.
Later, Marks.